Hey YouTube, it's Florida Deere here again, and today's project is going to be refreshing the driveway with about 15 tons of 57 stone or white gravel. I kind of get a little bit into what I'm trying to do right there with the driveway. As you see, those little concrete pieces, but you can see the driveway, it's not in terrible shape or anything, it's needing some more gravel. It's been probably a couple years since I've done it, and probably added gravel probably about 3 times over the course of our ownership. It doesn't look too bad, but when it starts to rain, those are really low areas, as the tires on the vehicles have consistently squished down. These 2 areas right here are the areas that hold the most water when it rains. Fortunately or unfortunately, I guess I'd say unfortunately, my wife wants to keep that strip in the middle for whatever reason, and so that's what we'll do. And I think the project would be easier and it would look nicer when it's done if that was gone, but she's a half owner of the house too, so she gets to have that say as well. So anyway, so that will remain. I'm trying to put a border in there, and that I can weed, use the weed whacker again, so I'm not flicking stones everywhere. And then heading back here to the back of the garage, which is always the front of the garage. I have a door on the back of the garage too. There's my dog Maverick. Is this little area right here. I'm trying to get that built up there. You can see the ledge is a little bit off the grade, and I want to correct that so I don't end up chipping the end of the concrete there with my truck tires, trailer tires, or tractor tires. So anyway, so I'm going to work on that today too. That's going to be one of the projects you'll see. And but there's a lot to do in prep for this job. I think that if it was just the tractor work, this job would go pretty quick, but I've got a lot of little things to do to make sure it goes well, and to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish with the borders there, and try to make it look a little nicer, as well as be utilitarian, I guess. So just kind of welcome back, and then here are 15 tons of gravel has shown up. What I didn't say yet was if you do like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button. I ended up deleting part of the video here. You really couldn't see much of it, but I'm just kind of giving you a scan of what's going on with this stuff over here. And then I'm about to get on the tractor and spread some stuff, spread some of that gravel down those 2 strips, so you really don't see me much here anyway. But it was funny, this is the first time I'm doing any sort of serious editing to a YouTube video, and I have this software now, and I ended up turning my tractor black in one of the edits, and so I kind of did away with that, partially because of that. I couldn't fix it, but also you really can't see me as you see me I kept going down there. This is the end of this section of the video where I'm just sort of back dragging some of this stone to get it smoothed out. And then the other thing I found out was I couldn't, without it looking really funky, I couldn't double time or quadruple time the speed because I didn't have a lots of frame work there and stuff. So anyway, here I'm doing that strip that I showed you earlier, where I'm just trying to throw the gravel in there. Of course, it's only about 32 inches deep, 16 feet wide, so I'm trying to get it in there just so again I can remain on the seat, don't have to get up, and get it done, and was able to dump this pretty well, although apparently I didn't dump the full bucket there. I'm going to go back and get some more here. This area ended up turning out pretty well. The gravel fell in there pretty quick. I mean, you can see some on top of the concrete there, but it actually went better than expected, and so I was happy about this part of the project. And then also, I think this area I'll give you a screenshot of the finished product too, although I might have it in the video too, I can't remember. There were a number of videos that I put together for this one, but and the pile's further closer to the front of the yard, so it kind of takes me a while to get back, and then when I do, I realize, hey, this work area is not prepped correctly because I got a hand truck in the way, and geez, that guy walks funny. Do I always walk that funny? I ended up dumping this load. It looked like on the video that it's gonna end up going over because I decided to not dump the rest of it, and then I decide to dump the rest of it, and it just comes pouring out of there, but it doesn't seem to be going outside of the borders. I wanted to try to minimize any off the seat work, and here I'm going over it for the first time, squishing it down. You can see how much it squished down into the dirt. I did wet it and stuff because it obviously needs to pack down over time, and so I'll probably need to add more. I ended up getting 15 tons. I went from 20 to 10 to 15, and now I wish I had gotten at least 16 tons, if not closer to the 20. Back up here, as you can see, I still need a little bit of finish work on those strips. They're not perfectly straight. I mean, they're straight, but they're not, the borders aren't really good on them, and they don't have the concrete like the other areas that you're eventually going to see here. I do need to do some tidying up there, spread some of that out as well, and try to get it to look a little nicer. And I still got plenty of the area here to do. I might remove these little rocks. These are great borders, by the way, and might eventually do this concrete curbing that I have here, cheap concrete curbing. So one of the things you'll notice, like if you're watching my channel, is that I use the word price sensitive or cost sensitive a lot. That doesn't mean that I'm necessarily cheap or thrifty necessarily. It just means that if I get something, it really has to justify its cost. And I'm not suggesting that people that get things that I don't get are, spendthrifts or anything like that. I'm just suggesting that maybe they found a use for something that I, was not able to justify the use for, like a backhoe. While backhoes are probably useful, they're also extremely expensive as a part of the tractor. They would have nearly, added another 50% to the cost of my tractor if I had gotten a backhoe with it. And I might have used it maybe one time so far in a little over a year, so that's not something that I can really justify the cost. Another one would be a grapple. Grapples are probably really good for lots of people with bigger properties, but for me and what this tractor can lift and stuff, it really wasn't going to be useful. And oftentimes I can use the pallet forks, which are to me an essential attachment on a tractor that they can use. But anyway, so these little stones are $1.72 a piece. I did cut them in half here, not because I was trying to be cheap. In fact, I'm concerned that that's actually going to be an issue because they're too thin now. They're about 3.5, 4 inches deep into the ground there, but there were so many roots that it really made it kind of crazy to dig that far down. I mean, I was chopping away with my dirt axe and the pickaxe and stuff too. It was just, oh my gosh, it was just a lot of work to just get those couple stones in. So I started out with laying the full stones, and then probably where you pick up here in the picture to the end where the back of the tractor is, you can see that, you know, those are all about ones that are cut in half. And the way I cut them in half was I used my tile saw and just ripped them one side and then flipped them over and ripped them on the other side and then smashed them up against another piece of concrete to crack them in half. That was mostly successful. I split a couple in the wrong direction, but I guess that's just, you know, going to happen sometimes. But the reason why I'm doing these curbs is, and that actually used to be grass on the right side of those curbs, and it still is. It's just that a lot of the dirt got ripped up there, and so it just looks dirtier and less grassy than normal. There I'm trying to figure out, you know, starting to spin all four wheels there, having the bucket too far, you know, into the gravel. But so with St. Augustine grass, it spreads by it grows out. So unlike Bahia, which is what I principally had, which is a single seed for each plant and stuff, and a single plant, single seed, whatever. I don't know what you would call that. St. Augustine is a spreader, so it will make its way across your yard if you don't do anything about it, which is actually good if you want more St. Augustine. But the problem is, it will creep into the driveway pretty easily. I mean, other grasses will certainly do that too, but St. Augustine will really get into it. And so I put these borders up. I had nothing up there in this area there, the driveway. In the other area, turnaround area where the flagpole is, I had the stones, and that was easy enough to maintain. I mean, sometimes the grass will grow between the stones, but it wasn't a big deal. It was still easy to accomplish. And basically, when I mow once, and then I'll trim, and then I mow without trimming once, and then I'm back to mowing and then trimming, you know. So about every other mow I do a trim job, and then, you know, blow off the driveway and stuff like that, you know, each time. So with this system, the idea is that when I weed whack right around the driveway, I'm not having to weed whack exactly where the stones are. I can go right across the top of that those concrete blocks, or I can do this side of the, you know, the right side here on the grass, and then, you know, clean it up pretty nicely. And the reason why I can't use Roundup is because they have their spreader arms and stuff like that. The St. Augustine does. You'll end up killing, like, you know, into your, you know, grassy area, the area that's supposed to be grassy. So the Bahia was easy to use the Roundup on, because it was just you know, once you would only kill the plant that you hit, not, you know, further down the line with St. Augustine. A lot of people use Bahia on larger properties because it's really low maintenance, it's convenient, it's, you know, relatively pretty cheap, but it just never looks that nice. Although it is you know, drought tolerant, disease tolerant, bug tolerant, all these things, you know, which is good. In St. Augustine, you definitely have to have an irrigation system, and so it does need a lot of care, you know, probably slightly higher fertilizer requirements, although both grasses grow pretty well in Florida, probably elsewhere in the southeast, but St. Augustine comes in nice and thick, and it really does a pretty good job of crowding out most weeds, and it doesn't tear up the mower blades as much because it comes in thick. There's less dust and stuff that come through the mower deck as I mow. With the Bahia, you know, it's a little sort of a more sandyish, grassy type thing, where a lot of you know, dust or whatever gets kicked up there too, and of course that dulls the blades a little bit more. So the St. Augustine, despite being relatively coarse grass, it is not as coarse as the Bahia, I guess. So anyway, you know what I'm doing here is I've edited this part too. You've probably noticed where suddenly like the pile got smaller. Again, I couldn't figure out how to, you know, make it go quicker, and I didn't want to bore you with, you know, just me doing this job, you know, and not getting, you know, doesn't look like I'm getting much done in a very quick amount of time. You know, as the back dragging goes on, you know, it kind of gets, it looks like there's less and less work getting done, even though there's actually, you know, more work getting done. Right, I'm doing here is like smoothing out so the edge is right there against where the grass needs to be. And of course, with back dragging, you got to get the tractor lined up. As you can see, I kind of corrected that little spot there, and then there's a little spot there at the end of the concrete that needs to be corrected too. Now this concrete, as you're looking at it, if it's bothering you because it's not straight, you know, I'm sorry, I just didn't really care. I was just kind of following the grass line. It kind of gets straighter on the way down. On the left side of the driveway, as you see it here, it is straight up until those rocks. And so just, you know, keep that in mind. This is how I did it, and I really don't, I'm not too concerned about other people's opinions on how straight it looks or whatever. The finished product looks pretty good. When you see it from different angles, I think it probably looks better. I did not injure the flagpole or tear up anything else here. I did tear up some pipes though when I was, you know, cutting into the ground for this for these concrete block things. And by the way, these make a great item to put in a ballast box. They're 35 pounds a piece. For $1.72, you can load your ballast box up with probably 11 or 12 of them. And there's 11 in my ballast box, and they seem to work pretty good. I would say it's real cheap. Real cheap. What is that? Like, not 50 cents, 5 cents a pound, something like that. I should probably break out a calculator and figure that out. But so it's a good thing. Yeah, about 5 cents a pound. Good thing to put in there. But if I was cracking them before, I wanted to bust the pipes that basically run diagonally into the driveway. Now, why they ran them diagonally into the driveway, I have no idea. But that's kind of what they did. And our weather here was just kind of crazy too. It's been, we've had some cold mornings, which is nice, and then by this time, as you can see, I'm in shorts and a short sleeve shirt, and I'm quite comfortable. I think it was probably 70, 68, 72, something like that, and the humidity wasn't too bad. These are the kind of, this is the time of the year I like to do a lot of tractor work if I can. Just because it's just so much nicer outside. When you're doing work and, see, there was a quick edit. When you're doing work in Florida in July and August and stuff, and really even into September and October, it's just, it can be kind of brutal, you know, with the heat and you know, coupled with the humidity. It just is not something that makes me happy. I've been down here for, you know, 30-something years now, but I've just not really gotten acclimated to, you know, the nastiness of the humidity and stuff put together, you know, with the heat. So here I'm trying to get that last edge, and again, I'm trying to finesse this so I don't have to do as, you know, I do as little work as possible off the tractor seat. You know, we don't buy a tractor to continue using a shovel, right? I mean, that's, you know, we get a tractor to not use a shovel, I think. I mean, that's, I stole that from one of my buddies who also has a tractor, and I think he's right. You know, there's, I mean, listen, you know, we do these, get these things so they're tools, and we make life easier. Of course, I think sometimes we find more and more projects to do with them that we might not have otherwise done. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe not. back to that cost sensitive thing. So you might be asking, well, you know, Don, why don't you do why don't you do concrete? You know, like just poured concrete. No, I had thought about that, and my neighbor had made fun of me about being cheap, but, you know, he doesn't have any trees next to his driveway. The guy to the right of me, in this picture, he has a concrete driveway all the way down, and for one, that's pretty high cost. But with this oak tree to the left, it's very rooty. I would be probably upset in a couple years as the root system probably broke up the driveway and stuff. Although the very end of the driveway that's concrete right now, which is about where the camera is, and I'm just playing with the camera now, having fun, and it hasn't broken up in the 17 years that we've been here, so maybe it wouldn't be a problem. But I think it probably would be a problem. I'm not willing to take the chance to spend whatever, a couple thousand, $3,000-$4,000 for a driveway and then have it look gross and nasty. And plus, I think the gravel look is pretty cool. I kind of like the semi-country look of the gravel. Plus, this 15 yards was, I think, 15 yards with delivery, I think was 700 and change. And this will probably last me, I might get some more just to do some, a few yards more just to do some, top coat in some low areas as it squishes down a couple months from now. But I really think it'll probably be good for years to come, probably, 10 years or more before I do it again. Having done it a couple times before, I do have figured out that gravel does get eaten up by the earth. Earth will eat gravel, and like I said, I've done it about 3 times before, and you saw what was left on those strips, and those strips were just as high or nearly as high as they are right now at one time, 3 times before. So I might have been a little scrimpy on some of the other stuff, and I said it's 7 tons or 6 tons or whatever. Now I didn't have the turnaround area there when I did those other ones, or when I did the first 2 anyways. Obviously the last one I did have the gravel in the turnaround area, so I guess I did that probably 3 or 4 years ago, the last time. So in 3 or 4 years it sunk that much, as far as you saw, heading down the driveway in the earlier part of the video. So I'm just trying to finish some extra work here and get this, looking nice, and then getting close to being done this section. I ended up, getting out and doing some, hand tool work with the landscape rake to try to spread it out and get it closer to the edges and stuff like that. I think I've gotten a lot better with the back dragging, but for precision work like that, I think probably most people would end up using the landscape rake. When I say landscape rake, I mean the hand tool, not a tractor attachment. And I've mentioned this too before about the space that we have with these tractors. Right here I'm really up against the edge of that area, and then my buddy was like, "Oh, you need to get a compactor and stuff." I'm like, I'm not going to get a compactor. I mean, again, I'm cost sensitive about things, and over time, every other time that I've put the gravel down, it eventually gets squished down and packed in hard. And this part up here where the tractor bucket is was actually packed in pretty hard already. There weren't many weeds at all coming through it. It gets less sunlight too, so that might have been part of it. In the turnaround area, there were a couple little weeds and stuff. I did put some landscape cloth down. I don't know that I'm a fan of landscape cloth. I mean, I guess it prevented some weeds, but we still had weeds coming through it, and it's a pain in the butt to put it down. If you've never put it down, you can't put it down on any sort of a windy day. And then, if you're moving your material around on it, you might catch an edge and then it pulls it up, and then you got to tuck it back in and stuff. I decided not to do any landscape stuff here. And then on the one tractor page that I'm on Facebook, I threw out the you know, for opinions. You know, there's people are never short of opinions, myself included, when it comes to doing work like this. But I said, you know, how much do you think I need, or how do you think? I can't remember what the question was about how much. And my question was should I rip up what's there, or before I bring the new stuff in, or should I just use it as a good base and then put the new stuff down on the base? And I don't know what the breakdown was. It was probably something like 50-50. Said rip it up, and you know, I had some guys saying if you rip it up enough, you probably won't even need to bring any new in. I don't think that was the case, but and then another guy said, oh, 20 tons is just not going to be enough, where basically this is 15 tons, and it was basically enough, although I didn't have enough to put behind a couple spots around my workshop that I wanted to put it. But so really 15 tons ended up being perfect if I didn't have any extra stuff. Again, I wish I would have gotten an extra, you know, ton or two just for the workshop stuff, and then maybe throw some stuff around here if I find a low spot. But anyways, I decided not to rip any of it up because it was a good base, and a lot of the area of the driveway, it was already packed down pretty good, and you know, it was close to being weed preventative, I guess. And I mean, it could be that I was kind of lazy too, you know, or I just didn't feel like putting that kind of effort into it. I haven't done that before when I've, you know, sort of refaced or refreshed the driveway, so I just figured I wouldn't do it this time either. What would be the difference? So this is definitely the most amount that I brought in, and I still got to do some edging along the those strips. I think I said that earlier though, just to make it look a little nicer and stuff, and then kind of spread it out maybe a little bit at the very end by the electrical box, and my neighbor's mailbox is where I put my garbage cans out. I was thinking about putting a little section there with these little concrete caps and seeing how, you know, if that would look nicer. The grass doesn't really grow in there very well, so it's kind of like, you know, it never really looks that good, so I figure, well, maybe I'll just put some gravel there, you know. I didn't have enough gravel to do that. Of course, it looks, as I'm backdragging this, that I have plenty that I could use. But, and I don't know, maybe I'll scrape some together, you know, do some backdragging, and then scoop it up and then take it where I want it to go. And so I don't know, but and then, so the weight I have on the back of the tractor, I don't know if you see my other videos where I talk about rear ballast and stuff, but that's a Titan ballast box, and it weighs 132 pounds. Here I'm trying to get the edge just perfect, and I still got that little strip of dirt area I see there. Anyway, so that's 132 pounds by itself, and then I said I had about, I think it's 11 of those 35-pound concrete caps in there, and that brings me to about just under 520 pounds for rear ballast, plus I have the wheel weights, one on each, you know, 50-pounder on each wheel. So it's in excess of 600 pounds that I have off the back. Those loaders are close to 7 or 750. So the tractor right now is probably, you know, well above 2,500 pounds, and then a full load of that gravel makes it, you know, significantly heavier. And but this back dragging thing, I was going to break out the land leveler or the land plane. I have a 5-foot land plane, but I mean, as big as the driveway is, it's really not that big at all. when it comes to, like, you know, whether you're going to do work with a tractor or not. So I think the land leveler would have been big time overkill. It being 5 foot, and the thing is just, you know, it's a nice tool. It's just that it's too big for this application. And realistically, for this type of application for detail work, I really think back dragging the bucket is the way to go. You know, for this kind of smaller detail work, you have the float option on it, which you don't really have. I mean, I guess you sort of have that with a 3-point attachment, but not exactly. And so anyways, I just decided to use the bucket. It seemed to be the easier thing to do. And then, you know, like I said, I spread some of that stuff out. Here I'm pretty close to being done. You can see that it does need a little straightening up. This is after I did some of the work. And you can see the other side is straight, guys. The other side there on the left there is straight. It's come in quite a bit. It's up against that. I did have some spillovers on these rocks. I think over here there was some spillover, which I was a little frustrated about it. I mean, it was only one, but I was just like, hey, you know, I'm getting better at using this tractor. I've had it for well over a year now. Done a fair number of jobs with it. Anyways, before this video comes to an end, I just throw out the little pitch again. If you see there, you can see all my squiggly lines. You know, I need to tighten that up a little bit. If you've liked this video, hit the like button. If you've you know, if you find it useful and want to see more videos like it, you can hit the subscribe button as well. And I certainly appreciate you watching this video. I'll probably do some more things with the driveway and stuff a little bit later. Maybe I'll do a video when I do the workshop stuff too. Anyways, I will talk to you later.